evening, everyone. Welcome to the Select Board meeting, Town of Rochester. It is February 9th and it is 5 o'clock. Our meeting has been warned in our agenda has been warned in 3 different places on the website and emailed to interested parties, so we are good to go. And we do have 2 guest visitors tonight, and we will accommodate them when they come in. Kevin from Two Rivers Ottauquechee Regional Commission is supposed to be coming in around 5 o'clock to talk to us about new land use laws and their tiers and all of that. It's like crying tears, TIERS. And so as soon as he comes in,
this might be someone on a phone number, so
why not?
let's see if I can get him off of the mute.
Might not be Kevin, might be Kyle.
That's true. Well, yeah. And so as soon as if we get a connection with him, we will give him the floor. We also have a visitor, Cindy Hill, which is counsel for the cell tower issue that we currently have on our plate. And when she is ready to come in and speak to us, we will also give her the floor. But in the meantime, the floor belongs to us, so we can go ahead and start our agenda or go through our departmental reports. The first thing on our departmental report is the library. Do we have someone from the library?
No.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Hello?
can.
Okay, great. Hi. Yes, things are going well at the library. Moving forward with the grant. We'll be having our meeting tomorrow and hopefully trying to find our third contact. In doing all this, we found that drainage is actually not included in this grant. So we're going to start just finding some other solutions and look into maybe getting some estimates if anything needs to be done for, we have a drain issue. So if we get all the grant moving forward, we can get that taken care of as well. So just looking into the future a bit there.
Okay.
We've got a bunch of events going on this month. This weekend, there's the Dogs Love Stories and Cozy. And then, of course, next week is the seed giveaway. So that's the big event happening this month. And we'll just be preparing for the town meeting. I think there was some confusion around the budget and if we had to petition for it, but I think that got sorted out the other week.
Yes, it did.
Yes, so we're getting a little bit more clarity on that. So apologies for the confusion.
And I am holding a letter of support that was written up and looking for me to put a signature on. We had a discussion about whether or not we would be supporting this grant that you are applying for, and it's a library grant. And if it's okay with you, I would sign this letter, and you can come over and pick it up at your leisure.
Perfect, wonderful, thank you very much.
Okay, let's get that done. We always support applications for grants. And so noted.
Yes, we feel positive about it.
So thank you.
Yes, of course.
Keep on keeping on.
That's right.
We'll get it. Okay, next on our list is the highway. Since we had a lot going on in our agenda this evening, I dismissed our highway foreman and said if everything was good with him, we would allow him to go home and have dinner, so, he was here to give a highway report, but it wasn't going to be very informational, so we let him go home. Utilities operator, probably the same situation. So we're gonna move on to the energy coordinator. Do we have Jeff on?
We do not.
Okay. And then grant updates.
I don't have any.
Either. And VHI management updates? We don't have.
I have Asha's on here. I don't know if it's, oh, her hand's up. Just
Yep.
give me 1 second.
Hi, sorry, I'm not
awesome.
used to doing this. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yep.
So, and this isn't about the management updates. This is just kind of our VHI update that we usually do. I see that we're later on the agenda for the management agreement, but for this part of it, I'm just going to say we had a lovely event yesterday. It was Winterfest. We collaborated with the Rochester Stockbridge PTO, Recreate in Rochester, and the Penn program. So it was kind of a whole community-wide collaboration. We had a market, we had events, we had a Super Bowl cook-off with 13 entries. Congratulations to Norm Christensen for winning. So yeah, we had a really nice event, and stay tuned for more future spring events. But for now, boilers are running, the building is staying warm, so all good here.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Good enough. That's a good report. So before we move on to any of the new businesses, we still don't have Two Rivers.
Correct.
Well, why don't we give Cindy the floor,
All right.
if you'd like? If you want to wait an hour, that would be fine too.
What is the plan?
He's here.
He is here. There it
I was expecting 2 other planning commission members and they were thinking
Okay,
Cindy wouldn't be here till 6. So,
Oh,
okay,
geez.
that's fine.
all right.
We
We'll
have,
work
we
around
have
it.
other things to do.
Is Mary or?
Nope.
Cindy?
No.
Okay, so, we have done we're waiting on the Two Rivers. We have done the number 2, the library grant. I signed that document. Is that the same as what you have on the agenda, correct?
Oh, they were gonna talk to us about that. They wanted to be on the agenda,
She's still here.
but I guess. 'cause
Library
there-
card
you-
grant collaboration?
You said to table it and put it back on the next
Right,
agenda for a decision to
okay,
go ahead with
there
that.
you are. Yeah, is it just for this grant right here?
Yep.
Yeah, I
And
think,
that.
I think
we're
we
good.
did it with
Okay,
this.
okay.
You have the floor.
Oh, wow.
We were holding the floor for you.
Oh, thank you, thank
We were moving
I
other
was like,
things in.
maybe they're doing minutes or something.
No, we've gone beyond that, but we can circle back because I don't want to hold you up.
Okay, first off, everybody, I'm Kevin Geiger. I'm from the Regional Planning Commission. And the reason I'm here is that we are working on the regional plan. And one of the things that is being done in that process is asking certain of our towns, right? If they want to be what's called a 1B, have a 1B area, a couple 1B areas. And in Rochester, that could be 2 places, the village and basically Townsville.
Mhm.
And so we sent a map. There is a good amount of opportunity for confusion. in the
Yes.
process, I'll say, because there are kind of a bunch of different things happening at once, but the area that is eligible is the village center area, so the purplish areas on the map. I brought some more maps if you want.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
mine is kind of,
And for those out there in Zoom land and stuff, if you were to go to the Two Rivers website and let me see. I've got the ambulance just in my file.
Mhm.
In practice.
Thank you.
Oh, there's two, so.
Yes.
2 and 2.
This is the one that's been
Is
changed.
that,
What is this right here?
oh, that's just the legend, I've just cut it
Okay.
off.
Okay,
So there are other areas there that don't really relate to the 1B issue.
oh yeah, we'll discuss them later.
Yes, yeah, this isn't the,
The tier
The-
3 is the one that makes the biggest change.
yeah, so, tiers is a new thing. It is, something that this new body, the State, Land Use Review Board will do. Our only role in tiers is really on 1A and 1B. I don't think we're gonna have any 1As in the region, maybe Hartford and Randolph possible, but about a dozen of our towns could have 1B areas, which are less complicated. You have to have a couple of things. Mainly you have to have zoning and subdivision. Those are the biggies that you have to have. And you have to have certain land use areas to qualify, in your case, the village center and village area. You have, up in this area, you have this purple, which is the village center, and then you have this surrounding kind of pink, which is the village area. Your options are, say, no, thanks, we don't want any of that. Yes, we want it, but we want only one of those areas. We want, the village area, or we want the village center, or we want both, or we just want Tapville. The only thing that you can't say is we want like half an area. You can't split
We
it up.
can't change the map.
Well, you could change the map. So you might say, oh, well, we'd like the village center to go down a little more or something, but whatever the village center ends up being, it would be the entire village center would be 1B
Mhm,
versus like part of the village center.
mhm.
They are separate things, but they are coterminous. So, 3 things are gonna happen with the village center. One is that it's a future land use area for us, and so it has policies around it. The other thing is that any designated center under the state designation program, which
Which
is
we-
also called village center,
Which we
just to confuse things. So there's the state village center, there's our village center. You won't go through that process anymore with the town plan and go into the state downtown board and all that. Our map will become the map.
Mhm.
And so, in most cases, that village center is being expanded. And, the only reason that designation part is important is mainly for businesses that want to receive certain tax credits, for expansion and that type of thing. Certain housing projects can also get in there, but that's designation. And there's our land use area, which has policies on it. And then there's tier 1B. The big thing that happens, and pretty much the only thing that happens with tier 1B is what is happening right now. Right now, you have an exemption on housing projects of 50 units or less in Act 250. Your zoning and subdivision stay exactly the same, they don't go away. So the way I think about it is there's like 4 check valves out there. One of them may be Act 250. We turn that one off, you still have your zoning, you still have your subdivision, they still have to get sewer and water and meet all the other rules out. So it isn't like Shazam 1B and things happened. And also, this is in place right now. And
Yeah, as of January 1st.
very little has happened in the region, so we don't see that, because nothing has happened necessarily, nobody's jumped into that hole, that things are imminent gonna happen out there. things to consider with Act 250 going away. The main thing I would say is, well, that helps housing. So if you want housing and we want housing, and this is a good place for it, then they wouldn't do it. However, right now in town, somebody can build up to 9 units. They don't trigger Act 250. There may not be a lot of lots in the village that somebody would put more than 9 units on anyways. And so it may be kind of a moot point. The other thing is that the exemption applies basically from 10 to 50 on lots under 10 acres. And so under your zoning, if you get, I don't know, if we get out here a little bit, or maybe down Techville, what the minimum lot size is. But sometimes then, because the way the minimum lot sizes work, you're always, well, they'll need 20 acres, and then they're not in 1B either. So that's happening in some things. So with all that said, I'll take any questions. The other thing that you can feel free to give us some comments on, hopefully sooner rather than later, is if you feel these boundaries are wrong, not for 1B so much, but just for the regional plan. If you go, oh, I think you made the village too long or not too big enough, or, you know, why didn't you put those little houses there in the village center, that type of thing. Feel free to give us that input. And from the region's point of view, the main difference that happens between the dark purple and the pink is kind of the residential donut around the commercial core. Again, especially for the people out in Zoom land, people worry, well, what's this mean for me? And the answer is, if you don't trigger Act 250, very little. Our regional plan and our maps and our policies really only have effect in Act 250 and cell towers somewhat, and solar fields, but primarily in Act 250. And you don't get a lot of Act 250 in villages because your lots are already small. So any questions?
So is this program designed to promote development that doesn't get you out of Act 250? This expands your ability to develop without having to deal with Act 250. That's the basis of this?
Yes, the current exemption and the future exemption under 1B, yes, for housing.
For housing.
Okay.
Mhm.
And, yeah, we don't, right now, the only thing where that's actually happening, I would say, isn't Fairleigh. There's a couple of projects.
This new program called CHIP,
The CHIP, yep.
are these cousin programs?
The CHIP program potentially would facilitate this more so in a town that doesn't have any sewer and water. Unlike your town. Because the CHIP program is essentially to use another acronym, it's kind of like a developer-led TIP. But long and short on CHIP, the idea is, if I was in a town that did not have sewer and water, and I, the developer, said, oh, I will pay to build myself a community leach field that will serve my housing project over here. Instead of having the town do that, the developer does that, but then the developer gets some of that increased property tax from the development to pay off their cost. But it's a way to keep the town out of the business of building certain
Infrastructure
Yeah,
to support. Right.
additional sewer and water.
Okay,
infrastructure, yes,
okay.
exactly.
So yeah, they're distant cousins. One's an enabler. Is this going to lead to, let's say we wanted to upgrade, expand, update our current septic systems? We have a bunch of septic systems, not sewers.
Yeah.
And pumps are getting old and this and that. Will this lead to extra funding for that so that we could accommodate growth if it comes about? Because we're close to not being able to accommodate growth right now.
Right. I wish it would.
Me too.
We have parts of our regional plan have policy statements that basically say
Mhm.
the state, if the state wants this stuff to really happen, the state needs to send towns more money for sewer and water.
Right, and that could be coming about.
Yeah,
Okay, because, yeah, that would be our goal. I mean, we don't have a lot of elbow room to stretch out in for growth, but if we were to increase the density of our village housing, that would definitely be a restriction
Yes.
looking in the
Yeah.
future. We're dealing with a cell tower issue, and you're aware of where that is, and that is not a part of any of this. It's way outside of all of that. I just wanted to make that known publicly. And the potential, the potential reality that we face in the future would be our elementary school possibly looking at closure. It's something we do not want and totally against and will fight hard, but it may be inevitable that that's in our future. That would be a building that could potentially become housing because it is, the elementary school is not associated with the floodplain, as the high school is partially in
Yeah,
floodplain. So that eliminates it from being a lot of different things, but the elementary school building is not. So looking down the road, we would have to keep that in the back of our mind. And that would fall under our local zoning. We just want to make sure that our local zoning would accommodate a growth factor. If we had a growth factor, if our elementary school closed.
right. The other thing is that, the way the law is structured right now, one of the concerns is, well, Two Rivers does the regional plan theoretically every 8 years. We actually just finished it last year. We're doing it again now, but, is this our only chance? And there are a lot of things in flux. There are bills in the legislature right now around this. And all the word we get is that if we went through this and a year from now you said, oh, we don't want to be 1B, that there would be a minor amendment process for us to go, oh, now we'll put them in.
We could change our mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we could add things to the regional plan without going through the giant process we usually go.
That's comforting
It is coming.
to see how it all shakes out and, yeah.
Why would we not want to do this?
The best, well, in general, I'm very pro housing. Let's remove things where we can to make sure it happens. Let's put housing in the right places. Even for the communities where practically it doesn't have a lot of effect, I think it's still a good thing to do. The place where I have heard an argument that I think has some merit is really, oh, well, we really rely on Act 250 to do X as part of the review. And our zoning isn't up to grade to really handle that part of things. And so if Act 250 were to go away, we'd kind of be a little naked on some aspect of permit. I could see that in certain places, in certain bylaws. Might be good to look at those parts of the bylaws and tune them up.
I know the zoning administrator will take a look at that.
Good.
Yeah.
But I feel we're pretty tight but
There are several other things in play around housing, more on the small scale, I would say, that may come to pass around appeals reform and other things that may help some stuff go.
And our planning commission, that's actually half of them are here now. So you are speaking to two different entities. You got lucky tonight. That their involvement and their opinion is quite valuable to our opinion.
Yep.
So we rely on that. So when does this have to be this designation have to come about, or do we formally have to reject it saying, oh, we like our zoning?
You don't have to formally reject it too. Right now, the way the law is, you have to formally say
Okay.
yes
Okay,
and request it. We're trying to meet with all our towns in February. Because the way the process is going, basically, we'd like to have things done in March. So then in April, it kind of solidifies, because at that point, the draft regional plan will really start to be as a whole.
Mhm.
And we will be making a map that goes, these are all the tier 1B areas and that kind of stuff.
What do you recommend?
So, I recommend that you do choose a tier 1B area. I don't know about Townsville so much, the opportunity down there. Maybe the reason we put Townsville on, even though it's a kind of a minor village of sorts, is that one of the things that we did when we were drawing all these areas is we had to look at the new municipal housing targets that we had to make, because the state told us to make them, and we had to make sure that that could reasonably fit in the bounds of these areas. At least more than half of them. And so we try to make them as big enough until the point where like, oh, we think it would actually work. So I think that you should seriously consider requesting a tier 1B. You may go, well, we want to fiddle with the map a little bit in that process. Certainly talk to the planning commission and see, like, how does this relate to the town plan? How does it relate to our zoning? Out there. And again, the exemption is 50 and lower, but it doesn't mean 50 necessarily. Somebody might say 20. And it's any kind of housing. And you might want to think about what your zoning says and whether you kind of want, like, okay, is 12 luxury condos that are second homeowners exempt from Act 250. Is that what we're aiming for? Or are we aiming for, a lot of things can go through an exemption hole.
Okay, well, Dan had something to ask or say. Dan is our,
I'll say and ask.
okay.
So our village area, business residential, covers, all that village area, and then our, we call them one south of town, commercial, agriculture covers Townsville. They both allow multiple unit dwellings. So I'm wondering if we had someone that wanted to do between 10 and 50, right? That's where this would fall, units. Basically, it's a rubber stamp. I'm curious if we could do some conditions. Wouldn't require a conditional use, but there certainly could be things that would need to be considered. What are the sideboards on what a planning commission could do for a permit for a 10 to 50 unit thing in an area that allows multiple units?
Right. Well, right now, the way the law is, there are some bounds as for what you can regulate, mostly in areas with sewer and water. Outside areas with sewer and water, there really aren't a lot of bounds, except around lot size. And so if basically, if somebody wanted to build a triplex or they wanted to build a house, it's the same land area, lot size, that type of thing. You could run them through site plan approval process. And where you might look at, the visual screening or the parking or the effect on traffic or something like that. And depending upon what you have in your standard, that might or might not be very stout. So that's the type of thing where you may go, okay, for us to become 1B, you certainly wouldn't become 1B until later in 2026. So the regional plan won't be done until October. It probably won't be approved through the WRB until November if everything's aligned. So if you wanted to act on, do some zoning, even an interim zoning provision to patch a hole or something, you certainly could. You can't make multifamily housing conditional use in the village proper. I'd be against the statutory enabling.
Do we have anything, I'm asking you, do we have anything in our plan that allows us to do a site, site conditions, what did you call that?
Site plan review?
Site plan review?
Give anything in your plan?
Yeah, I don't think we do any of that for, if it's not a conditional use permit.
No, I don't know your bylaw in and out. In your plan, usually there's,
That's only,
oh, yeah,
that's right,
yeah, because your plan usually has enough
sure.
foundation that you can do all sorts of things. I don't know your bylaw well enough to know that. It's common, and we like site plan more than conditional use for this type of thing, because a conditional use review is really meant to be a question about the use. Like, you know, do we really want that thing there? Whereas site plan is really more like, yeah, we want that type of thing, but we want to make sure it's safe. And, you know, the truck doesn't park in the road, and, you know, the parking works, and a lot of times the visual aspect of it gets dealt with. So those type of things versus, you know, whether or not we want that type of use to occur. And and you're widely enabled under site plan and review to kind of craft standards. That's the thing that we hear a lot, around, especially around multifamily, is a worry about the size of it. You know, you're driving down the road and there's a little house and now there's quadplexes. You go, wait a minute. But sometimes there's a big farmhouse that really is the same size as a quadplex. And so sometimes there are things about, oh, maybe we want to visually regulate that so it's broken up into most, you know, you can kind of do stretched out things that look like farmhouses and barn rambler. Yeah. And then the other thing sometimes has to just do with the intensity of the use. Oh, maybe that's more cars and that type of thing, so we're gonna have a little more setback.
How does this work in with stormwater runoff? Like size of building, size of parking lot and all of that? It seems as though
That
we're gonna be bumping into each other.
that all stays in place, so it doesn't make it any easier to get
A
stormwater
50-unit building of certain probably would not happen in this town, but
yeah.
we're talking about a lot of parking lot and a lot of roof and.
Yeah, I mean, for the best example, when we talk about scale of that type of thing, more for the eastern part of the region, if you're in downtown White River Junction and you're crossing the bridge into New Hampshire, there's a reasonably new apartment building on your left right before you cross the river. That's 48 units on a 0.8 acre lot.
Oh, wow. Mhm.
So it's, you know, but most of that lot is hard, right? So they need a stormwater permit because
Yeah. Okay,
there's not a lot of just grass on the lot.
no underground parking garage there, right?
There is some underground parking underneath that building. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I just curious about that. There's like one entity bumping into another entity, and how's that all gonna work out? So I kind of
Another question?
grasp it, yeah.
Okay, so the purple here, the village
Yes.
center spills over into the floodplain area. Just for the record, just want to make sure that everyone knows that we wouldn't be allowing 50 units to happen in the.
Not where the black marks are, no.
Yeah.
Right, hey, good. Let me talk about that a little bit, because there's a little weird statute on there.
Yeah,
And
there's a maybe there.
there is a maybe there. And that's why we put this black hatched area on there. That's the floodplain and river corridor. Right now, parts of the statute actually say you can't put any 1B in the floodplain and river corridor. Except as those areas may be mapped out in the future using something called the infill procedure. our take on that is, well, we can't like make a map that flip-flops. The map's gonna be one way or the other.
Mhm.
So our approach to that is we have to put it in some area. We'll keep it, it makes sense to do this, but we have a policy under Village Center that says you can't build it in there at all unless you go through that infill procedure. And so let me just, so looking at this, the infill procedure would be kind of on the north end of town, by the fire station and over that way, which is underneath some of this.
Peabody Drive.
Yeah. Assuming it passes your flood regs, which are of course their own thing too. The infill procedure basically connects the dots between existing buildings such that you couldn't armor the river further than that. But if there's already buildings there, basically the state's gonna let you armor those buildings.
Mhm.
And so you're not constraining the river anymore. But if you were on the other side of the river there where there's nothing, there's no buildings, then yes, you couldn't build in there because there's nothing to
Right.
connect the dots.
Right. So infill means
Yeah.
not bring infill and make it higher.
No, it means there's existing development that from a state kind of riverine protection area, they're already
Got
gonna
it.
bound the river in.
Yeah.
More for river corridor issues than for feet high and dropping.
Mhm.
issues. Dan and I, of course, also work on flood. Never a bright idea to go in here,
No,
even if everybody lets you.
we were here for Irene.
Yeah.
We know that. Yep. Okay, did we miss anything?
Great, well, I'll, again, call us up. If you have some more questions, want us to come back, we actually will have a formal request form,
Mhm.
that type of thing. And if you do have some, tweaks on the color, not the colors, we have to use these colors, but on the bounds of certain things, let us know separately and totally separately, because I don't want to.
Right, well, I've always been endorsing, bringing the village, down through Kennedy Drive and include the houses on Kennedy Drive as part of the village, because I someday dream about having sidewalks that go down there. So there'd be a double-edged sword of why I would want something like that.
Yep.
And then, up into, Brook Street, it's densely populated in that area but it's also for the planning board and the zoning administrator to discuss if we wanted to expand that.
Yep. From a regional policy perspective, the thing that really happens is stores go in the dark purple, don't go in the pink.
Mhm.
And so that's why we're sometimes like, let's not stretch that out too far.
Yeah, the reality is we have children walking to school from those areas.
Yeah.
So there is like public movement.
Mhm.
That's mine. We'll talk about it further.
And,
Go ahead, Dan's,
For the purposes of this 1B.
Yeah.
Purple and the pink are pretty much the same.
both
1B.
eligible.
yes,
We wouldn't have to expand
No,
the village for
No.
this purpose, but for
Correct.
future.
right.
Okay.
and
Good.
separately, if you have issues on other tier things that we're not involved in, we try to build a lot of stuff on our website to direct people, because it's confusing, it's in play, there's different studies and whatnot. But on our website, there's a big link up on the top left, essentially regional plan. And underneath that draft thing, there's links about tiers.
Wonderful. It's always exciting to have something new on the table.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming way out here.
Thank you, you betcha. Yeah, I'm gonna go, this is my warm up, because I'm gonna do the same thing in Bethel. A half an hour.
do you mind if I do the management agreement next?
Thank you.
Hey, Kevin, good to see you.
No, go ahead. We're gonna go into, what we have on our agenda as the last thing under new business, VHI management agreement. And we will run through that and then we will go to Cindy cell tower.
I'm dying to get this off my plate. It's been on my plate for a long time. So I'm happy that we have finally gotten to this point. I have a few things that I want to say that for the public record that about this agreement. I have some notes here, but I'm going to start with, why did we need an agreement between VHI and the town? VHI is managing the redevelopment of a town-owned building, but they're an independent organization. They're not a department of the town. So the agreement is needed for a number of reasons. For starters, there's some very important provisions in it for the protection of the town. And I'll give just two examples. One, VHI is required to maintain their own insurance. Another being that the funds that VHI raises for the project become town funds, and they will be managed in the same way that all town funds are managed. On the other hand, VHI needs the agreement because in order to continue advancing the project. I mean, there are donors and grant makers that need to know that VHI is contractually obligated or authorized to do this work. And this agreement accomplishes that. So how did this agreement get developed? We've been working on it for a number of months. We've mentioned that a few times at select board meetings. We never thought that it was going to take this long, but it really has been a very good thought exercise for how VHI and the town is going to work together going forward. Both parties now have a much clearer understanding of our respective rights and responsibilities. There's been several drafts of this agreement that we've gone through. Each of them have been reviewed by Jim Barlow, our town attorney. And Jim's number one objective was to ensure that the town is legally protected and that all of our rights are preserved. We think this process has produced a solid foundation for the work ahead and will serve the town well. So what happens next? Honestly, as far as the project is concerned, not really all that much is going to change. One of the main purposes of the agreement was simply to allow the work to proceed. VHI is going to continue raising money and generally advancing the project. The select board is going to continue to support VHI. The select board wants to be open and honest about everything having to do with the hub project. And to that end, we're announcing tonight that this management agreement has been finalized and we're making it available for public review. Julie's going to have a copy of it here at the town. Anybody can come by and read it, or we can provide it by other means upon request. Comments from the public are absolutely welcome. Now, we want your input. You need to understand we can't invite the entire town to a seat at the negotiating table. There are folks who are against this project, but we also know that there are many who are in favor of the project. As a board, we are entrusted with selecting the path forward, and I want to state for the record that this board is 100% unanimous in support of the hub project. So at this time, we consider this manager agreement to be final, and we will sign it at our next board meeting on February 23rd. Should public comments reveal something important that we may have missed, we have the ability to amend the agreement and we would consider doing so. If there are folks that want to speak publicly about the agreement, please come in on the 23rd and we will give you the floor. And there's one other specific reason why we need to finalize this agreement and have it executed on the 23rd. VHI is in the process of applying for a very important grant that is due to be submitted in early March. And VHI's professional grant writer has advised us that to not have this agreement finalized and executed would not serve their application well. So we need this application to be signed and finalized for VHI to submit for this very important grant. That's what I have.
I think we are now well informed
Okay.
of the status, where we're going, where we intend to continue to go. And so, like Mike said, we invite anybody that wants to review the document to review it, and they can submit an opinion, a recommendation. But that document has been approved and gone over by our town attorney at a pretty decent expense. And we are confident in it, and we do intend to sign the agreement as it sits right now on this table.
Mary, do you have a question? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Was there a posting requirement on this? I'm just curious why we're not signing that tonight.
You know, there was a request by a citizen that it be made available for review by the public, so we agreed to that.
Courtesy.
Yeah.
So there we have that. Moving along, things. Are we ready to talk about cell tower? Or do we want to wait till 6 o'clock? I think everybody's here.
Executive session, I just didn't know if you've got other, business involving the public that you want to
Well,
finish.
we probably could get it out of the way and adjourn. If
Right.
we had started on it and we were moving along. Yeah, I guess we can get the rest of the normal business tied up in 15 minutes.
Yeah, just so that the public doesn't go away and have to come back if
Yeah,
there's people that are
everybody leave, come back.
listening.
I've seen it done though. So the next thing that we did have on our list was Pierce Hall Community Center user term and agreement and daily rental contract. This is a formality for Pierce Hall Community Center. For anybody that wants to rent out Pierce Hall for any type of event. There is an agreement in place that if the town decides that they would like to use Pierce Hall for town business, there would be no charge. So this is a contract saying there's no charge. So, it does have stipulations about no alcohol, this and that, but we are going to sign this because it is something that they need to have in their files. And it does certify that we are not going to be charged for a building that is tax exempt. Two, 9/26. Another one. Do we have to provide them with a copy of our insurance?
Yep, I have that.
It's peasy. Next on our list is adopt 2026 town road and bridge standard. Does it have a deadline? I'm not seeing that it has to be done by a particular day, but we are ready to do it. This is an annual thing. that, happens from V-Trans, the Agency of Transportation. And it specifies the reimbursement they're going to give us to help us support our town roads. It also points out that there are, some changes to their specifications. And basically, I think the emphasis is all on the fact that anytime the town wants to replace a culvert, it has to be at least 18 inches in diameter. We are way beyond that. Yeah, that is not a problem for us. So that is pretty much the snapshot of where we are. The rest is standard. It does state that we have, I'll give you some numbers. We have 12.24 miles of Class 2 road, which we are estimated to receive $58,583.04 in support from the state. And for Class 3 roads, we have 39.13 miles. And that reimbursement for aid is $69,776.26. These are numbers that we also have in our budget under income. And so it does help alleviate some of our taxes, but it's already built in. It's not coming back on us anymore. We know generally what it is every year and we plug it in. So I move that we sign. It's like 3 or 4 different places to sign. First is we're signing that we accept the town road and bridge standards, and we will operate and any work that's done on our roads up to those standards, which we agree with totally, so there's no problem in us saying that. And the second part is annual financial plan for town highways. We have to certify that at least $300 per mile is being raised by town taxes, and that we're not charging, the state's not giving us more than we're collecting in taxes. So we have to collect the majority of our municipal town budget for the roads from the taxpayers. 926. That explains how much money we got. And then we have to sign a document that says we agree to comply with the standards, the specifications, everything that we just agreed to, we have to agree to again. And we'll be all set for another year.
All right.
And I guess I should move that we accept all of these documents as conforming to V-Trans and the bridge standards, and
Yeah, second.
all in favor.
Aye.
We're gonna be good. And that covers it. I have a little bit of a report. A lot of what I had been dealing with since our last town select board meeting, is relative to preparing for tonight's meeting. We do have 2 requirements that, I believe it involves Michaela. Local hazard mitigation plan and local emergency management plans. They're LHMP and LEMP. These are processes that are in progress right now. And one is due the day after town meeting day. So we will probably be hearing from those folks to adopt that one before they're due.
Yeah,
So,
I'm currently working on getting the LAMP updated,
mhm,
because there were some inaccuracies from leftover from last year that
right.
need to be taken care of, so the hope is that.
It's
the day
always
after town
evolving.
meeting, it will be ready to
Perfect.
be signed and adopted.
I do know that the school board, RSUD, is also, had a special meeting regarding, scholarships for seniors. We have revitalized that program. And so if there's anybody out there that has a senior in high school, look towards the RSUD for, how to apply for scholarships. And, the next thing that we'll be looking at, there's a FEMA document on the horizon that I'm gonna need to be taken care of. That's it for me. Anybody else have anything with the report?
No, thank you.
You did your report. Okay, so, is there any public comment?
Be on Teams.
No public comment? All set?
Question, Tara Murray, State Garage Road.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question about an update on, and I apologize if I missed it because I was a little bit late getting here. Was there an update on what's happening with the town responding to the latest response from Verizon regarding the cell tower?
The latest response that I looked, the latest on their website was your response to the interveners. And that was due today. And I see that several of you did respond back to that. That's the last update I see, is that, they had contacted the certain interveners about repetitiveness and this and that, and gave you the opportunity to respond back to them, which several of you did. And that's the latest update I have.
If the town was going to respond at all to the response that Verizon did, basically making a lot of statements about how the town's motion to intervene was not accurate and the town plan didn't matter and all this different stuff. Was there any plan to?
No, I don't believe that we have any plan. We've made our statement, and until such time, whether there'd be a hearing or not, I don't think we'll be called upon to respond any further. I move that we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.